Hello, everyone. I'm Elena, and I'm really excited you're here today because we're about to dive into something that can truly change the way you connect with people in English. Have you ever found yourself struggling to keep a conversation going or worried about saying the wrong thing when you want to make a good impression? Or maybe you want to feel more confident when meeting new people, making friends, or just deepening your existing relationships? Well, today's lesson is just for you. I've put together 100 essential sentences that are perfect for building relationships through conversation. These aren't just random phrases. These are sentences you can use in real life right now to start conversations, show genuine interest, build trust, express care, share positivity, handle disagreements, and even end conversations warmly. What makes this lesson extra special is that for each sentence, I'll explain where you can use it and give you a short, natural example, a little practice story, so you truly understand how it fits into everyday English. That way, you're not just memorizing words, you're learning how to actually use them to build real connections. So, whether you're a beginner, or want to sound more natural and confident, this lesson will give you the tools to have meaningful, smooth, and friendly conversations with anyone. Are you ready to get started and take your English conversations to the next level? Let's go. First up, we have sentences for starting a conversation. Imagine you're at a networking event and you see someone standing alone. A great way to begin is by saying, "Hi, I don't think we've met before." This is perfect when meeting someone new at a party, event, or workplace. For example, you walk up with a smile and say, "Hi, I don't think we've met before. I'm Elena." They introduce themselves and seem happy to talk, and just like that, you've opened the door. Next, if you're in a class, meeting room, or public event and spot an empty seat, you can ask, "Is this seat taken?" For instance, you're attending a workshop and see one empty seat beside someone. You ask, "Is this seat taken?" They shake their head, and you sit down, creating a perfect moment to start chatting. When you're at any organized event like a seminar or open house, a natural opener is, "What brings you here today?" At a community lecture, you might strike up a conversation with the person next to you by asking, "So, what brings you here today?" They say, "I'm exploring career options." And now you have a topic to dive into. For casual settings where someone's outfit catches your eye, try, "I love your jacket. Where did you get it?" Picture this. In a coffee shop, someone walks in wearing a bright yellow jacket. You say, "I love your jacket. Where did you get it?" They tell you it's from a local market, and you're off to a fun exchange. In cafeterias, events, libraries, or outdoor seating, if you see a spot you'd like to join, you can politely say, "Mind if I join you?" You see a table with one person during a meetup? You walk over, smile, and say, "Mind if I join you?" They smile back and say, "Sure." You now have an opportunity to connect. If you're at a new event or unfamiliar location, ask, "Have you been here before?" At your first dance class, you could turn to the person beside you and ask, "Have you been here before?" They reply, "Yeah, a few times." It's really fun, and suddenly you're not the newbie anymore. When someone is holding, reading, or eating something you don't recognize, a curious question is, "That looks interesting. What is it?" Someone in the lunchroom is eating something colorful. You ask, "That looks interesting. What is it?" They respond, "It's a poke bowl." Now you've started a food conversation. For repeat events like hobby groups, language meetups, or gyms, you can ask, do you come to this event often? You're at a local board game night. You sit down and ask the person next to you, do you come to this event often? They say yes, and you can then ask for game recommendations. If you've recently relocated or joined a new group, it's helpful to say, I'm new around here, just trying to meet some people. You attend your first photography club meeting and say, I'm new around here, just trying to meet some people. Someone nearby responds, you're in the right place. Welcome. Finally, in relaxed, casual settings with music, atmosphere, or energy, you can comment, this place has a great vibe, doesn't it? At an outdoor concert, you turn to the person next to you and say, this place has a great vibe, doesn't it? They smile and agree. Now you're sharing a moment together. Next, let's look at sentences for showing interest in others. After someone shares a story or idea, show you're engaged by saying, that's really interesting. Tell me more. For example, a friend tells you they once lived on a boat. You lean in and say, that's really interesting. Tell me more. They light up and go deeper into the story. When someone mentions their hobby or job, ask, how did you get into that? Someone tells you they design board games. You ask, how did you get into that? They explain how they loved puzzles growing up, opening up a great conversation. To encourage someone to share their passion, simply ask, what do you like most about it? Your coworker mentions they volunteer at an animal shelter. You say, what do you like most about it? And they happily explain what it means to them. After hearing about someone's interesting or unique career, you can say, that must be a fun job. A new friend says they work as a video game tester. You say, that must be a fun job. They laugh and say, most of the time, yeah. When someone speaks with excitement or emotion about a topic, respond with, you sound really passionate about it. A friend talks about gardening. You respond, you sound really passionate about it. They smile and say, I really am. If someone mentions something new to you, show your curiosity with, I've never heard of that before. What's it like? Someone says they're into disc golf. You say, I've never heard of that before. What's it like? They explain it with enthusiasm. When someone shares good news or a plan, exclaim, wow, that sounds exciting. Your friend says they're going skydiving. You say, wow, that sounds exciting. They laugh and say, nervous too. To spark a positive and reflective response, especially with someone new, ask, what's your favorite part of your day? You ask your new roommate, what's your favorite part of your day? They think and say, probably my morning coffee and reading time. For casual getting to know you questions, try, what do you usually do on weekends? While chatting during lunch, you ask, what do you usually do on weekends? They might say, hiking or Netflix binges, leading to more conversation. Lastly, to complement someone's curiosity or knowledge, you can say, you seem like someone who really enjoys learning new things. A coworker talks about taking night classes. You say, you seem like someone who really enjoys learning new things. They say, I do. Thanks for noticing. Now, let's move on to sentences for building trust and connection. When someone is opening up or expressing frustration, showing understanding is key. Say, I totally get what you mean. Your friend is talking about how hard it is to balance work and family. You say, I totally get what you mean. They nod, feeling seen and understood. After someone shares their reasoning or perspective, affirm them with, that makes a lot of sense. A colleague explains why they made a certain decision. You reply, that makes a lot of sense. They feel respected and heard. When someone shares something personal or vulnerable, express gratitude by saying, thanks for sharing that with me. A friend confides in you about a past mistake. You say, thanks for sharing that with me. It truly deepens your bond. To show appreciation for someone's qualities, tell them, I really admire that about you. Your sister always stands up for others. You tell her, I really admire that about you. It lifts her spirits and strengthens your connection. When someone describes a challenging experience, show empathy with, that must have been tough. A friend talks about a difficult breakup. You say, that must have been tough. They appreciate your empathy and feel supported. To offer ongoing emotional support, say, you can always talk to me. Your coworker is stressed about family issues. You say, you can always talk to me. They thank you, visibly relieved to have someone to confide in. When offering loyalty or support, a powerful phrase is, I've got your back. A friend is worried about standing up in a meeting. You tell them, I've got your back. They go in with confidence, knowing you're there for them. To show empathy and a shared experience, try, I feel the same way sometimes. Someone says they feel anxious in big crowds. You reply, I feel the same way sometimes. They no longer feel alone, realizing they're not the only one. When someone is deeply passionate or emotional about something, acknowledge it by saying, I can see how much this means to you. Your partner talks about their dream project. You say, I can see how much this means to you. They smile, feeling understood and encouraged. Finally, in times of stress, sadness, or challenge, reassure them with, you're not alone in this. A classmate is overwhelmed during exam season. You assure them, you're not alone in this. It helps them feel supported and less burdened. Now we'll explore sentences for deepening the conversation. In a relaxed one-on-one setting, you can ask, what's something you've always wanted to do? During a walk with a friend, you ask, what's something you've always wanted to do? They might say, travel solo across Europe. This reveals a dream you now understand about them. To uncover someone's core values, ask, what motivates you the most? You ask a new teammate, what motivates you the most? They say, helping people grow. This helps you connect on a deeper level by understanding their drive. When reflecting on life lessons, a thoughtful question is, what's something that changed your perspective? At a dinner gathering, you ask, what's something that changed your perspective? They tell you a touching story, sharing a part of their journey. To understand someone's coping style, you can ask, how do you usually handle stress? A close friend opens up about work pressure. You ask, how do you usually handle stress? They feel supported by your genuine interest in their well-being. To uplift someone and learn about their journey, say, what's something you're really proud of? You ask your roommate, what's something you're really proud of? They might say, finishing my degree as a single parent, sharing a significant accomplishment. In deeper conversations with close friends or partners, you might ask, what was your childhood like? During a quiet moment, you ask, what was your childhood like? They share memories that bring you closer, revealing a part of their past. When you want to explore someone's passions, simply ask, "What's something that inspires you?" They might reply, "People who stay kind in hard times," giving you insight into what moves them. For thoughtful conversations or even interviews, consider asking, "Is there a moment that really shaped who you are?" They might share a story about overcoming illness, illustrating a pivotal point in their life. In deeper, reflective talks, especially when someone talks about changing priorities, ask, "What does success mean to you?" A friend says they've redefined success. You ask, "What does success mean to you now?" They say peace, revealing their current perspective. Finally, when building lasting bonds, ask, "What do you value most in friendship?" They might say, "Honesty and laughter." You both smile in agreement, affirming your shared understanding of what makes a strong friendship. Moving on to expressing care and support. When someone's been in your mind, reach out with, "I've been thinking about you." You send a message to a friend going through a tough time. "Hey, I've been thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay." It truly touches their heart to know you're thinking of them. After someone shares a problem or difficulty, offer practical help by saying, "Let me know if you need anything." Your neighbor just had surgery. You say, "Let me know if you need anything. I'm right next door." This simple offer can mean a lot. When someone accomplishes something, show your genuine pride with, "I'm really proud of you." Your friend finally finishes a big project. You say, "I'm really proud of you." Their face lights up, feeling recognized for their hard work. In close relationships, especially during emotional moments, express your affection directly. "I care about you." Your partner is feeling down. You gently say, "I care about you and I'm here," providing comfort and reassurance. When someone is recovering or grieving, give them space and time by saying, "Take all the time you need." Your teammate lost a loved one. You write, "Take all the time you need." We've got things covered, taking some pressure off them. To support someone in distress, validate their feelings with, "It's okay not to be okay." A friend is trying to hold back tears. You say, "It's okay not to be okay. I'm here with you," creating a safe space for them to express themselves. To encourage someone, especially before a challenge, remind them, "I believe in you." Your sibling is anxious before an exam. You remind them, "I believe in you." They nod, reassured by your confidence in them. When someone is overwhelmed, let them know they don't have to carry the burden alone. You don't have to go through this alone. A colleague is burned out. You say, "You don't have to go through this alone. Let's talk." Offering a path to shared problem solving. In any meaningful relationship, affirm their value by saying, "You matter to me." Your friend feels invisible lately. You say, "You matter to me, don't forget that," giving them a powerful boost of self-worth. Finally, for unconditional support, especially when someone is struggling with self-doubt, say, "I'm here for you no matter what." Your partner is struggling with self-doubt. You hold their hand and say, "I'm here for you no matter what," offering steadfast reassurance. Let's move on to sharing positivity and compliments, which can really uplift someone and strengthen your connection. When someone has a great presence, you can say, "You always brighten up the room." After a gathering, you tell your friend, "You always brighten up the room." They beam with joy, feeling truly appreciated. When someone shows great skill in something, let them know by saying, You're really good at what you do. You watch your coworker handle a tough client with ease. You say you're really good at what you do, and they immediately feel confident and valued. If someone makes you laugh, acknowledge their gift by saying, I love your sense of humor. You're chatting with a new friend who's hilarious, making you laugh constantly. You say, I love your sense of humor, and it instantly builds rapport and a friendly connection. For a casual compliment about someone's energy or personality, try, You've got a great vibe. After meeting someone at a party, you can simply say, You've got a great vibe. They'll likely smile and say thanks, feeling your positive energy. When someone shares something imaginative or original, say, That's such a creative idea. Your teammate suggests a unique project strategy that's truly out of the box. You respond, That's such a creative idea, encouraging their innovative thinking. If someone gives you their full attention and really listens, acknowledge it with, You're such a good listener. After venting about a stressful day, you say, You're such a good listener. I really needed that. Showing your gratitude for their empathy. When you genuinely like someone's style or choices, whether it's their clothing, a book, or a restaurant, you can say, You've got great taste. They pick a restaurant, and the food turns out to be amazing. You say, You've got great taste, and it's a simple, effective compliment. For close friends, family, or partners, to express their comforting presence, say, You make things better just by being here. After a long, stressful day, your partner simply sits beside you. You look at them and say, You make things better just by being here, acknowledging their calming influence. When you observe someone staying calm or acting wisely in a difficult situation, commend them with, You handled that so well. A friend skillfully defuses a tense situation between others. You later say, You handled that so well, recognizing their composure and wisdom. Finally, to express deep admiration for someone's actions or character, say, You inspire me. After hearing about their extensive volunteer work and dedication to a cause, you sincerely say, You inspire me. They feel genuinely appreciated for their efforts. Now, let's explore sentences for agreeing and finding common ground, which are crucial for building connection and showing you're on the same wavelength. When you genuinely share someone's opinion or feeling, you can say, I feel the same way. Your friend says, I miss traveling. You reply, I feel the same way. There's something magical about being in a new place. Expanding on your shared sentiment. To express enthusiastic agreement, especially when something resonates strongly, use exactly. I was just thinking that. During a conversation about healthy routines, your friend says, I think sleep is underrated. You respond, Exactly. I was just thinking that. Showing immediate alignment. For a casual agreement, especially when reacting to something surprising or highly relatable, simply say, I know, right? Your friend says, This heat is unbearable. You quickly respond, I know, right? And fan yourself, sharing a common experience. When someone says something insightful or deeply relatable, acknowledge it with, That's so true. A colleague says, People remember how you made them feel more than what you said. You nod and say, That's so true, affirming their wisdom. To build deeper dialogue by showing you've considered the same idea, say, I've thought about that too. In a late night talk, your friend mentions wanting to move abroad. You reply, I've thought about that too. It's been on my mind a lot lately. Opening up a more personal discussion. When someone shares an experience that mirrors your own, respond with, I can totally relate. Your classmate talks about their intense exam anxiety. You say, I can totally relate. My stomach does flips the night before. This builds empathy and solidarity. To reinforce shared values or humor, use an emphatic yes. That's what I always say. A friend passionately declares, pineapple does belong on pizza. You reply, yes. That's what I always say, joining them in their conviction. When someone perfectly articulates what you were about to say, a fun way to agree is, you took the words right out of my mouth. During a friendly debate, someone states your exact argument. You laugh and say, you took the words right out of my mouth, acknowledging their perfect timing. In teamwork, collaboration, or shared decision-making, to confirm alignment, say, we're on the same page. You're planning an event with someone and realize all your ideas and approaches match perfectly. You say, looks like we're on the same page, ensuring smooth progress. Finally, for strong and complete agreement, declare, I couldn't agree more. A friend thoughtfully says, kindness makes a huge difference in the world. You smile and say, I couldn't agree more, showing your full support for their statement. Next, let's look at how sharing personal stories can deepen connections. To connect your experience to theirs, say, that reminds me of something that happened to me. Your friend shares a funny travel mishap they had last month. You say, that reminds me of something that happened to me in Italy last year, leading into your own anecdote. When you're about to share something meaningful or emotional, especially to build trust with someone new, you can ask, can I tell you something kind of personal? You're building trust with a new friend and feel ready to open up. You say, can I tell you something kind of personal? I don't usually talk about this. To deepen a bond by sharing something you don't usually disclose, use. I haven't told many people this, but a friend opens up about their childhood struggles. You respond, I haven't told many people this, but I also struggled a lot growing up. Creating a shared, vulnerable space. To add humor and connection to a conversation, begin with, funny story, you're going to laugh. You're chatting during lunch and want to lighten the mood? You say, funny story, you're going to laugh. I once wore 2 different shoes to work without realizing it. When offering advice or insights from your own life experiences, say, when I was in that situation, A friend talks about the challenges of moving to a new city and feeling lonely. You say, when I was in that situation, I joined a local club. It helped a lot with meeting new people. To show vulnerability and make others feel comfortable sharing their own imperfections, admit, this is kind of embarrassing, but you say, this is kind of embarrassing, but I once called my teacher Mom by accident in front of the whole class. Everyone laughs and feels closer, realizing we all have those moments. To validate someone's feelings with your own relatable experience, say, I totally get why you'd feel that way. I've been there. Your friend feels incredibly nervous about an upcoming presentation. You say, I totally get why you'd feel that way. I've been there. It's scary standing up in front of everyone. When someone's experience strongly reminds you of your own, you can say, that sounds really familiar. A friend describes their new boss's demanding and micromanaging style. You say, that sounds really familiar. I had someone just like that at my last job. To share a meaningful or transformative moment from your past, you can start with, let me tell you about a time when, during a deep conversation, you say, let me tell you about a time when I almost gave up on my dream, but I pushed through. It changed everything for me. Finally, when reflecting empathy and acknowledging someone's loss or disappointment, say, I know how much that meant to you. A friend misses an important family event due to unforeseen circumstances. You say, I know how much that meant to you. I'm really sorry you couldn't be there. Next, let's learn about handling disagreements respectfully, which is vital for maintaining healthy relationships. When you want to show respect despite disagreement, you can say, I see where you're coming from. Your friend supports a different political opinion than yours. You reply, I see where you're coming from. That's a fair point to consider. In respectful debates or discussions, acknowledge the other person's thoughts with, that's a valid perspective. A classmate offers a different interpretation of a book or concept. You say, that's a valid perspective. I hadn't thought of it that way before. To affirm that you're listening, especially when someone is venting emotionally, calmly say, I hear you. Someone is expressing intense frustration about a situation. You calmly say, I hear you. It makes sense you'd feel that way given the circumstances. To express tolerance and acknowledge differing views, especially on sensitive topics, say, we might see this differently, and that's okay. You're discussing politics with a friend, and you both have strong opposing views. You say, we might see this differently, and that's okay. I still value our friendship above all else. To end a conflict peacefully when an argument is escalating, a powerful phrase is, can we agree to disagree? You both realize you're going in circles on a topic. You step back and say, can we agree to disagree and move on to something else? When seeking clarity and showing a willingness to understand, ask, help me understand your point of view. You're struggling to grasp why someone holds a certain belief. You say, help me understand your point of view. I want to see where you're coming from on this. To redirect a tense discussion and find common ground, say, let's focus on what we agree on. You and a friend are disagreeing on minor details of a plan. You say, let's focus on what we agree on for now and take it from there. To show maturity and respect, even when opinions differ greatly, state, I respect your opinion. Someone makes a passionate argument for a viewpoint you don't share. You say, I respect your opinion, even if we differ on this particular matter. To present your view humbly, allowing for the possibility you might be mistaken, say, I might be wrong, but here's how I see it. In a group discussion where opinions are varied, you say, I might be wrong, but here's how I see it. And then share your thoughts, inviting open discussion. Finally, to end a respectful discussion where your viewpoint was challenged, express gratitude. Thanks for sharing that. It gave me a lot to think about. A coworker challenges your viewpoint on a project strategy, presenting strong counter-arguments. You say, thanks for sharing that. It gave me a lot to think about, and I'll consider your points. Lastly, let's cover sentences for ending conversations warmly, which leaves a positive, lasting impression. To wrap up a positive chat, say, it was great talking with you. As your coffee meetup ends, you say, it was great talking with you. Let's do this again soon. When saying goodbye to someone new you've enjoyed speaking with, Express your pleasure. I really enjoyed our conversation. After meeting someone interesting at a conference, you say, I really enjoyed our conversation. Hope we stay in touch. After someone opens up and shares something personal, a heartfelt thank you is appropriate. Thanks for sharing that with me. A colleague tells you a personal story about their challenges. You say, thanks for sharing that with me. I really appreciate you trusting me with that. To end a friendly talk with a plan for a future meeting, say, let's catch up again soon. You run into an old friend unexpectedly and have a quick chat. Before parting, you say, let's catch up again soon, maybe next week for lunch. When someone is clearly going through a lot or looking exhausted, offer care by saying, take care of yourself. A friend looks particularly tired and stressed. You hug them and say, take care of yourself, okay? Don't overdo it. For a light, friendly goodbye, especially with someone you might not see for a while, say, don't be a stranger. Your neighbor is moving to a different city. You smile and say, don't be a stranger. Come visit sometime when you're back in town. When parting with a new acquaintance or someone you hope to hear from again, encourage future contact with. Stay in touch. After a great conversation with a new acquaintance at an event, you say, stay in touch. Here's my contact info if you ever want to grab coffee. When someone is moving on to something new, like a new job or relocation, offer your good wishes. Wishing you all the best. A coworker is leaving the company for a new opportunity. You say, wishing you all the best on your next adventure. For a general friendly farewell, especially with family or close friends, say, hope to see you again soon. After a lovely family dinner, as people are leaving, you say, hope to see you again soon. It's always nice being with you all. And finally, a casual yet warm goodbye for many situations is, until next time. As your online chat wraps up or a regular meeting ends, you say, until next time, and wave goodbye with a smile. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today on English in Moments. We've just gone through 100 practical, natural English sentences that will help you build strong, meaningful relationships through everyday conversation. You've learned how to start conversations, show genuine interest, build trust, express care and support, share positivity, handle disagreements respectfully, and even end conversations warmly, all with examples that make it easier to remember and use. But remember, the most important part of learning is practice. The more you use these sentences in your daily life, whether with friends, family, classmates, or colleagues, the more confident and natural you'll sound. And that confidence will open doors to new friendships, better connections, and even more opportunities to speak English fluently. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it useful, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to English in Moments so you never miss new tips and lessons to help you improve your English step by step. I also love hearing from you, so please leave a comment below and tell me, which sentence was your favorite? Or which one are you excited to try out in your next conversation? Your feedback helps me create better lessons just for you. Thanks again for being here and sharing your English journey with me. I can't wait to see you in the next English in Moments episode. Until then, keep practicing, keep connecting, and take care of yourself.